Good afternoon to you. I'm Adrian White, a solution architect for Adapt. I'm going to run down the final 6 in today's leading top 10, so there's no pop pickers and stuff like that for you. My first one is DR and business continuity. So first of all, you know, we've been here for a little while now, so come all of you on your feet, please. If you can all stand up, get a little bit of blood circulating back into those legs. It's all a bit stiff and achy and everything else like that. You're allowed to sit down if your company has a business continuity plan in place. So if you know that your company has a business continuity plan in place, right? Or a disaster recovery plan as far as the IT infrastructure is concerned. So if you know that the IT infrastructure is safe and protected. My sales colleagues, if you like to look at these gentlemen that are still standing up, right, these are the people you need to be talking to at the coffee break time because I think they may need some help with their IT infrastructure. Thank you very much. You can sit down now. So, DR and business continuity. Talking from a techie viewpoint, don't let the techies lead the planning. I guarantee you that you'll get something that's absolutely superb, maybe a little bit more expensive than what you're willing to pay. Don't ever trust the techie with building a DR plan for you. You need to consider the bigger picture. You need to look at all of the elements. Think about whether there's alternatives. For sometimes running those systems internally, it may be that, you know, good old-fashioned pen and paper, you can survive for a little while. I know a lot of us have forgotten the use of how to use pen and paper these days. Now we're so IT literate, but that is a plan for some of those things. But you need to look at it from the business aspect sides. You need to understand what the business objectives are. The two that really spring out as far as business continuity and disaster recovery is your RTO and RPO, recovery time objective and recovery point objective. Do we all know what RTOs and RPOs are? Do we all know how we, what you recover for that? So you're all quite happy, so I can ask anybody the question and knows what they all mean and stand for. Just in case, recovery time objective is how quickly or you can get your servers stood back up and operating so your business can return back to normal operation. What allowable period of time your business will allow you. And the recovery point is all to do with data loss. How much data loss can your company survive and provide, live without for that period of time? It could be a case of re-entering data is an acceptable method, but whether you want your business will allow you to re-enter that data and how much data they can re-enter. And of course, moving to the cloud can present other options for you. It's maybe a refreshing challenge, but a lot of the cloud providers will give you DR as part of the service. So you need to consider this. It's a complete refresh, it's a complete new approach, and sometimes DR comes into it. That's disaster recovery, that isn't business continuity. You still need to think about your business and your business processes. If your cloud provider takes a day to recover your systems, then what are you going to do for that period of that day? Where are you going to get your staff and how are you going to handle those business processes? So you need to understand about those recovery time and recovery point objectives. And of course, the final point, plan in advance. I can always remember that sign that was on my wall in my office when I started off, and it said, plan ahead. And somebody had managed to squeeze the D in at the end, just at the end, as far as the sign was concerned. Don't think about your disaster recovery and business continuity. Think about it at the beginning, before you move to the cloud. Plan for it. Make certain that you understand all of the business objectives and where you need to go. Don't just think about it as an afterthought. So, how do you translate that and move it into the cloud? As I mentioned, cloud services can actually be an enabler for this. It can actually help you introduce disaster recovery services that may not be present at the moment. And I have seen some horror stories in my time, hence the grey hairs, in relationship to systems that are just running in a back cupboard, that have no backups and all of those sort of things. Protection of data and ensuring that you recover and keep your business operating is absolutely essential. So, it's about the flexibility. Ensuring that when you move to the cloud, there are cloud providers that can increase the options available to you for your disaster recovery services. It could be hot standby equipment, could be dual data centers, it could be just resilient hardware. You need to understand from your providers what they offer and how they can protect you and your data. Considerable costs can be removed. Again, talk to your providers, find out how they're delivering those services. It may be that those services can be delivered cheaper from a DR service, from a cloud provider, than you can do by standing up alternative equipment. The cloud offers different changes in relationship to that traditional DR platform methodology, where we shipped in equipment in the back of a wagon when the building burnt down. Cloud doesn't operate like that. Where would you ship it to? You don't have a data center anymore. How would you get all your data from that system back onto that traditional hardware? That's gone. Need to think about how the cloud provider will deliver those services for you and how they can build that into your plan. The other thing the cloud can offer you is access anywhere. We've already talked, and Jim's talked about the public cloud. If you've got your own private cloud, and your building's burnt down, where do you relocate your staff? How do you access those systems? For the public cloud, that's easy. Send them home, send them to the internet cafe, and with the necessary security, of course, all in place, they can continue to work and operate. So the cloud gives other options to you. So even if you can't get access to your building to continue to operate, potentially you could relocate your staff to other locations where they could continue to operate and still provide and run those services. And again, the two other factors that I've just mentioned, RTO and RPO, both of those need to be designed in. You need to think about the applications and the services. When you do the RAG chart that Jim suggested, when you look at your applications and the services, what needs to be recovered first? What needs to be critical? Does it need to be recovered within minutes, within hours, within days? How much data loss can you afford to put up with? Do you need that data replicated every minute to the other data site? Or does it need to be recovered in 24 hours or 48 hours? All of these factors play an important part. You need to identify on those application sets and those services sets what is the most critical areas, what you need to identify, what needs to be recovered first, and how much level of protection. And when you start building and breaking down that matrix for those applications and services, what also comes into play is that certain applications may need to be recovered first, and others can take a day. So organizing that priority means that you can also focus your resources into the right areas.